In this episode, we're joined by premiership stars Tess Craven and Sarah Wright.
Gritted her teeth and tried to crash through. Eddie, little give. Riddell pops it over the top. The dangerous Garner only needs half a chance.
Welcome back to Further North, everybody. Now we've got royalty in the building. I've got to introduce Rashaan as well because he's co-hosting with me today, also known as Admin 3 from North Melbourne, close to a flag. But there's bigger names in the North Melbourne world. Two premiership players have joined us right now. Tess Craven and Sarah Wright are here. Tess, we'll go to you. You're a regular around these parts at the moment. How do you feel to be back on the Further North, this time being a premiership player?
Yeah, I think it's all the more sweet now coming back the second time and, having that flag. Now it's great to be back. Thanks for having me, boys.
And Sarah, your first time on the pod. You love a podcast, we've heard. When I was asking who the best people to get on the pod are, everyone threw out Sarah Wright saying, you don't mind a bit of podcast work, do you?
I definitely am not a big media person, but I have done a few this year. It's easy when we're winning. You can say whatever you want and it's fine. But I do appreciate you having me on, and thanks for having me.
No worries. Look, you make my podcasting time a lot more fun because I've done it for 2 years and I've talked about 6 wins with the men. And look, you guys don't really lose very much at all. So you've given me a lot more fun. Over the last few months. So, Sarah, let's go to you first. Like, how do you feel? Like, what's it been like since you sort of won it? I bet you'd be on cloud 9, surely. Yeah,
really exciting. I actually grew up a North supporter all my whole life, and my dad's side are North fans. So, it's been a really special week. I haven't watched the game back or anything yet, but looking through all the photos and all the videos from the week and footy trip has been, surreal. It is nice to finally just have a little break and be able to enjoy it with my partner and stuff like that. But, it's been a really good week.
Unreal. I didn't know you're a North fan for life. What sort of years are we talking that you started watching? When did you get into it?
Oh, pretty much like when I was really little. Dad and my nan used to take us, from like I probably 4 or 5. I've got 4 sisters and we all used to go to the games. Sometimes took it in turns because 4 of us were hard to handle. Since I was really, really little, and I still go to some of the men's games now. I try to get to as many as I can,
Favourite player of all time, who is it?
Oh, it changes. I used to love Anthony Stevens.
Good choice.
Yeah. And now I'm sort of there's a few. I'm a big fan of the back line. So,
of course.
Anyone down there, love them.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and Tess, you were Hawks, yeah?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We can't chat as much Hawks on here. All the listeners will be upset. Rashaan, any questions for the girls? Anything you want to add before we start?
Yeah, I guess mine obviously comes with maybe something a little bit unserious, given it's North close to a flag and we always talk in very unserious terms. I guess, who are the real MVPs or maybe people who are underappreciated in the celebrations?
Righty, you did pretty well for, better than usual. So I'll give you credit there. Who else wasn't bad? Kim Rennie wasn't bad either.
Yeah, she's a dark horse. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always those 1 or 2, I feel, at end of season, grand finals, all that sort of stuff that stand out and you're like, oh, you're still up. It is 7 a.m. So it's good to see that there are a few people really flying the flag high there. So, I guess, Josh, if you're happy to sort of go into the real nitty-gritty of it, I'm more than happy for you to take that away.
I guess where we're going to start is lead up to the game. I guess winning the prelim and then finding out you're against Brisbane again. Sarah, I'll ask you this one first. Like, how did you feel knowing you're going up against the same team that you played the year before and ultimately didn't win it? Do you think that was it a good thing to go back against Brisbane again and try and get redemption, or do you think it would have been better maybe a different team?
I actually was pretty happy about that result. I think our last 3 battles with Adelaide have been really hard fought and they've always come back towards the end of the game. And I feel like currently we match up far better on Brisbane. Adelaide have got some taller, bigger-bodied girls and Brisbane have the same, but I just feel like felt like all year we were better suited to play them. So I was pretty happy about playing Brisbane. I don't know about you, Tess, but yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I was much the same. I was probably, yes, for the same reasons, but also like you want to have that rematch. And like round one was great, but it was good to actually get to compete with them again on the bigger stage. And yeah, so I was more than happy.
I think it made for like a juicier contest as well. That story arc of, coming back and playing, or getting redemption on that team. Rashawn, I'll ask you a question here, mate. As a fan, how did you feel about it? Did you want to see someone else, or were you fully in the redemption arc?
I was really sort of in the redemption arc. It worked well for content as well, I'll put it that way. I think it was really good. I come from a half Brisbane, half North Melbourne family myself. So my sister and dad, Brisbane fans, mum and I, North Melbourne. So it was good. It's we call it like a family derby. So it was good to have that again and for us to get some revenge, which is really, really good because especially, going for the men's team as well, it's not exactly been very good against Brisbane lately. So
gather round 2 in a row.
Seeing you guys consistently do so well against Brisbane, a team that, who won the flag against you last year was really, really satisfying to see. And for it just makes it so much more worth it, I guess, sort of seeing you overcome that.
No. It is good. I mean, I was really pumped for the game. I didn't get to make it to the 2 finals before because I had work and they put it on at times I couldn't line up. But I was so excited to go to the granny, and I don't know. I just felt like, and I guess throughout the whole year we were so dominant, and only during that one game against the Cats, I was really, really confident. Do you guys get, like, before the game, and anything can happen, it's just one game, but how confident were you, Sarah, about going into this game with the body of work that you'd already done? Because it's very rare you get an undefeated season in any sport.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually didn't think much about the undefeated season. I know most people would go, "Oh, the pressure's on you girls to win," but it didn't really cross my mind at all. I just think after that Port Adelaide game, came out trained that week. And just felt really confident. I don't know, there was just a confident vibe around the place, which I suppose was a little bit different to last year. Last year it was more like we didn't really know what to expect. We had a lot of young players, and it just felt totally different this year. I can't really put it down to anything, but yeah, I think there was just a level of confidence that we all had. Everyone backed each other, and we've the core of us have been playing together for a few years now. So, I think it's finally started to click for us all, and hopefully we can go back to back.
Yeah, I guess one question I had with especially Tess in the last pod that we had, I know you sort of said in terms of what went maybe wrong last year was maybe you sort of played the game in your head before it was already played. I guess how much do you find maybe for both of you? Do you find you maybe worked on that, or maybe put an emphasis on not doing that? Was that something that was really consciously sort of thought about, or did you kind of just approach it as you normally have? Like, what was different in the process, I guess?
I personally think it just came down to our preparation for the whole season. I think, like as Righty said, we were a lot more experienced this time around. And so I think, I think Khan said something like we were riding a lot of momentum last year to get to the grand final. And when we got there, it was like we just couldn't believe we got there. Whereas this year, I feel like we kind of had that expectation for ourselves that we would at least get back there again. And so, I think it just really bred this sort of calmness and surety about all of us as we, went into the week, because I guess, we knew what to expect. And, so it was just a whole lot more composure, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess when it comes to, obviously a grand final, it's a different game and everything. And I guess you want to sort of approach a grand final in the same way you do as other games. You've got that consistent routine and process that you have throughout the week. Is there anything that you can't help but change for a grand final? I guess it's something that I've sort of always wondered, because you always hear that, approach it the same, but there must be something different, I guess.
Right, do you have anything? Well, I think.
No, I guess the only thing that really changed for me was the warm up before the game. All that's a little bit different because of everything you have to do, and everything else though felt exactly the same as every other week. I think that was a focus for us going from week one to just play like it was finals, and I feel like that's really helped, especially training standards and stuff like that. When it came to it, it all felt the same to me. We warmed up the same. Other than the breaks that the AFL make you have for broadcasting and stuff. But, that would be the only thing, just those few extra minutes that we had to sit and wait before the game.
Do you guys have any, pre-game rituals or anything? I know we've seen little things like Matt Rao eats grass, and I'm sure these things happen. Righty, do you have any little pre-game things that you do?
Oh, mine is a bit of an OCD thing, but my house has to be spotless. I have to do the same thing.
Okay.
The whole house is clean before I leave, all the washing done, everything put away. My partner actually hates it, but that's just in my head. And then the only other thing would be I wore the same pair of socks all year.
Wow,
So you can put the grand final win down to that. Yeah.
Yeah, look, if we've got one thing to hold the trophy up with, we should put those socks with the trophy in the cabinet, I reckon. The club will be stoked about that. How does that come around? What did you just play a really good game after you cleaned the house one morning? You're like, well, that's it. I'm just going to keep doing that.
No, I think it was more a nervous thing. I've done it for probably my whole career, just to get my mind off the game a little bit. I don't stop until I pretty much drive to the game. So, it was sort of that. And now I've just stuck with it. So in my head, I'm like, if the house is not clean well, I might not play well. So, yeah, that sounds silly, but that's just me.
No, fair. What about you, Tess? Do you have anything?
Any rituals? Not really. I don't think. No, nothing.
No.
Nothing that springs to mind. My house is for sure not clean when I leave, so definitely not the same as Riley. But I think maybe for me, if I try to do a routine and then something doesn't go to my plan, it kind of flips me out a little bit. So I think it's best for me. I just go with flow on the day.
Yeah. I'll start with you, Sarah, I guess. Some grand finals obviously can be quite close. You don't know until the siren's gone, who's won. This one, obviously, there was, quite some time where I think we all kind of knew that it was going to be your day. I guess, when did that occur to you? We'll go from you, Sarah, then to you, Tess. But, when did you know, and how did that change how you were on field or off field? I can't remember where exactly you were at the time, but how was that, and when did that sort of hit you?
Yeah, I think for me, it was probably the last 3 or 4 minutes that it actually really hit me. I think earlier in the fourth quarter, Carnes started celebrating with me, and we'd actually turned the ball over, so I had to tell her to turn around and sharpen up. But I think there was a moment in the fourth where I sort of I don't know what was happening on field, but I looked up at Jazz Ferguson, and we sort of both had little tears in our eyes, we'd finally done it, and just gave each other a big hug. And then it was kind of cool to spend that last 4 minutes. I don't think many of us actually cared what happened if they scored against us or anything like that, but just to soak it in and soak all the crowd in, because the atmosphere was just amazing. So I'd say that last 4 minutes of the game. Yeah.
And what about you, Tess? I guess when did it really hit you, and I guess where were you sort of at the time?
So I came off when Alice kicked that last goal, and I think up until that point I was still very much like, oh, this could go either way. But I think, as I came off, I don't know who came on for me, but we kind of hugged as I came on. And, oh, sorry, my cat just walked in the room. We kind of hugged as we swapped, and I kind of looked around at the bench, and everyone was kind of tensely kind of smiling, whatever. And then, I'm looking at the clock, obviously, and I can see there's a couple of minutes left, and everyone started realising, and we all started hugging each other. And I think I really tried to make an effort to soak it in, because obviously, being on the bench, I don't have to really pay that much attention. what's like as in the game, so I could really just look around and look at soak in the atmosphere, like Righty said, and hug my mates on the ground. And then Croc came down, and it really sunk in. Sorry, stupid cat.
I want to wind it back. I actually want to talk to you about one thing you did, Tess, that really impressed me in the game. I think it was the game, it kicks off and you kicked the first goal of the grand final, right? And, you took a mark, went back and slotted it through. First goal in the grand final, that's got to be an awesome sort of feeling. How did you feel? You celebrated pretty hard. I mean, and the crowd really, really got up and about to be able to kick that first goal. You went back, composed yourself, and just put it straight through the guts. What did it feel like to kick the first goal in a granny?
Oh my word.
The cat's all right. The cat loves it too. It's too much grand final.
He's so unhappy. Hold on, I'm going to put him in this. Can you?
No, you're right.
Can you put him in there? Thank you. What was I saying? Yes, first goal. Well, I guess it sort of just landed in my lap quite literally. And in my head, I was just thinking that I've kicked probably 400 of these in my life, whether it's back home in Drysdale with my dad or, at Arden Street since I've been there. So I think in my head I didn't think for a second I'd miss it. And so, I was pleased when it came off the boot as it did. And, you got to get around it. You got to get up and about for the first one. And, it was really cool to, have that moment now.
Yeah, because it set the tone, I think Alice kicked one, shortly afterwards. She kicked a couple in the first quarter, I think. I'm just double checking here. Yeah, so, we were up and about in the quarter time, 18-7, and we sort of played a lot better football. There was one moment where I think at the start it was a little bit of an arm wrestle, and definitely sitting in the stands it felt like an arm wrestle. And I was sitting with the other two admins who do closer to a flag. And Tess, you did this one thing which was super impressive, where we were struggling to get clean possession a little bit earlier. The game's a little bit frantic, and everyone's still trying to find their feet a little bit. And you got the ball on the back flank, sort of on the left hand side, and you hit this pass. I think it was into Ash Riddell into the middle, and you're under a little bit of pressure, and you just composed yourself and you landed it right in her chest, and you just opened the game up. And I turned to the guys, I'm like, that's what Harry Sheasel does a lot of the time, and it was super impressive. And I feel from that moment on, we sort of had a lot more control. I don't know if you remember these moments at all, but for a fan like us, we sit there and we watch that stuff and we go, that's awesome. Do you sort of remember that moment at all? Because it was something for me that I was like, it's just so composed, and that's what Sheasel has given us in the men's team, and you just did something so clean in such a big moment.
Oh. Well, I've got Righty to thank. She shepherded me from her player, actually, if you see it. So if you rewatch, you can see that Righty takes good care of her opponent, so I have that extra time. But I don't know, I think that was really a focus for me going into the game, just to, remain composed. It is a big occasion, so you just sometimes got to take a deep breath, and you can feel like you're under a lot more pressure than you actually are. I think that was, along with the goal, I think that was a good moment for me. I knew I was in the game then, and I think that kind of, you saw it a lot with us as well, that composure to hit those inside kicks, as we've tried to do all year. It was good to see us pull that off again on the big stage.
Yeah, for sure. And my last question, just to Righty before Rashaan, you can take the floor here. Just maybe skipping forward to halftime a little bit, we're sort of darting around a little bit, but, the second quarter felt like, the two middle quarters felt like a bit of a slog, and we had a lot of possession, but maybe didn't capitalise on it as much. But they really didn't score much at all. I mean, they only scored 1 point in the second quarter and 1 point in the third. So, Righty, in the back line, how did you guys approach their forward line? Dakota is so dangerous all the time, and the whole defense for that middle portion of the game that was super almost lethargic, or it just wasn't flowing as quickly. How did you guys approach it to slow, even though our momentum was slowed, they couldn't capitalize on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think one of our focuses over especially the finals, is just to be really disciplined and not go away from our structure. And I felt like the grand final was the 4 quarters that we actually could put that together for 4 quarters, and it finally paid off. I don't think we did anything different, or there was a bit of a slog, but it was sort of continue to be brave and get involved in offense, and then try and turn the ball over as early as we could, which meant it didn't actually get down too far, which was nice. But Yeah, I don't think we did much different. It was just, stick to our structure and be really disciplined and don't fall into that sort of, I don't know what the word is, but like that macho vibe that Brisbane sometimes bring out. What works for us and stick to that. And I think, it actually paid off.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with you, Tess. Obviously, this season was super. I mean, the fixtures were absolutely relentless with the compression that came with midweek games, and then, of course, coming up to finals as well. You'd obviously be exhausted from that. Going from Wednesday night game to a Saturday to another weeknight, and then finishing off on I think it was like a Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember off the top of my head. I guess, how did you find, with regards to approaching the season and approaching, training, recovery and all that, how did you find readjusting once you sort of won that qualifying final? You got a week off. I guess, what changes there? Like, what did you end up having to do to readjust, to settle yourself in for that prelim? Because that was obviously a huge change of pace, going from flat out for 2-3 months to all of a sudden nothing in an absolutely critical time of the year. I guess, how important was that for you guys, and I guess what changed?
Oh, maybe you should ask the 30-year-old. For me personally, what I do, was that a Friday night game? Yeah, it was. So I just took the chance to go see family for me, because my family's obviously not in Melbourne. And I guess it was we actually had the next weekend off. We didn't do any training on the weekend, which I think was beneficial for us to actually have that week off, because like you said, it was so hectic. And, it was good to just have that full reset and, just take a bit of time off. And, so what I do, I saw family, just saw some friends. Obviously, we trained during the week. It was, obviously you can't help but think about who you're going to play and, how you went in the previous game and all that sort of stuff. But, we keep going on about this, but I feel like we were very calm and very composed and, we knew how to handle ourselves for the break. And, I think it did us wonders because it was a pretty ridiculous fixture. But, Yeah,
and what about for you, Riley, in terms of that little bit of time off after a very, hard and fast fixture?
So I think the condensed fixture to me, I might be a little bit on the other side. I actually didn't mind it. I like less training, more games, but there may be some others that don't. Just that weekend though, I sort of did the same as Tess, just took the opportunity to come see family and just sort of relax. I think, we were calm and I think we were confident no matter who we played. I actually didn't watch the game between Brisbane and Adelaide. Just didn't. I don't think it mattered who we played going into the grand final. I just tried to take it. I don't know, have a rest and take the opportunities. To see family and.
Yeah, okay, really interesting. And I guess, we sort of briefly have mentioned Croc obviously coming down, having a bit of a moment with you guys after all the hard work was, done and everyone sort of knew that the grand final was yours. I guess when it came to during the week and his sort of messaging and everything and his sort of, I guess, I know he's sort of spoken about press conferences and he spoke about, raising standards and everything like that. Was it a lot of, just reinforcing what had gone right from Croc, or did he bring anything sort of different, I guess, and when it came to, the grand final itself? What was he like? I'm kind of really curious about that.
I don't know. He was, he was himself. He told a long, relevant story, and brought it back to us somehow. And I feel like we're really beating a dead horse with this thing we keep saying, but I think he led the charge and that he was very calm. And talking before about how undefeated seasons, so there's pressure. I think that we really. Croc was really good in that he never mentioned that to us. We never really spoke about the fact it was undefeated. We always just focused on the match ahead of us. And, I think that sort of calmness and that maturity. Like, he's obviously been to the highest level in, both men's and women's now. So he definitely knows what he's doing. And I think he too learnt from last year. Like, it was a big occasion. And, so he was just calm. He was just himself. And, he held us to the same standards he's held us to the whole year. And, I think that just held us in really good stead.
Yeah.
How much sorry, Richard, I was just going to ask.
No, you go.
How much influence? Because as fans, we sort of sit here and we don't know what goes on the inside. Like an experienced premiership player like Croc, how does he sort of relay what he's played with and winning premierships? How does he get that experience to come across into you guys when it's a very different era and a different time and all that sort of stuff? Like, Sarah, what do you think about that? How does he use what he's experienced to motivate you guys? Because I try to think about it. I'm like, I don't really know how that stuff works. We're not in the inner sanctum. So does he have any way that he sort of goes, I won this grand final back in 96, 99, and how does he pump you guys up to win it?
Oh, I mean, I was there obviously when he came in, and I think at first there was a little bit of a struggle with because obviously he had some time coaching the men and then coming across to us. The language was very different. I think he did struggle with that at the start, but in saying that, he's sort of grown with us. Just every season we've got closer and it actually does feel like a big family at the moment. I definitely know that he loves to throw in, back in my day or this and that. And I don't know that he talks much about his premiership days though. He'll tell a footy story or a story about a mate. I don't know if that's the same for you, Tess, but I haven't heard much of his premiership days.
Yeah, I'd agree. He doesn't talk much about it, but I think that's another good thing in that, he's very much focused on the W program and what he can do for the W program now, and just wholeheartedly invested in us.
Yeah.
Because it is a different era, and you can't obviously replicate what happened in '96 to now 2024 in a women's game. So he doesn't pretend to do that. He never has. But he is very knowledgeable, obviously, with that experience. So yeah.
Mm. In the second half of the game, there's some huge players sort of stood up. I've made no secret of my love for Vicky Wall. Tess especially knows this, how much I want to have a conversation with Vicky, because she's become, just an absolute icon down at Arden Street. She had some huge moments in the game, kicking some massive goals. And when she sort of kicked that first goal of the fourth quarter, I know as a fan, it definitely felt like we're going to get over the line here. I know you guys are in focus mode and all that sort of stuff, but do you think when you're on the field and you're in the heat of battle there, Vicky kicks that and that really sort of did put us in the ascendancy? Do you guys sort of feel that? Like, Sarah, do you feel like that's a massive moment in the game, or are you just so locked in, maybe you don't soak up how good or how box office she can be at certain times?
No, I think as a defender we get the best view of the forwards. It was definitely good to see her go back and kick that. I think we definitely felt like there was a big sigh of relief in that moment. Pretty big moment of the game, you're right, first kick, because it could have gone either way. Brisbane are such a good team and they do their third and fourth quarters are often their best quarters. So, to see her kick that, I think we all could breathe a little bit easier.
Because there was definitely a little bit of tension. We did play better all of the game, and those middle two quarters, it was still a little bit of a slog, and we didn't capitalise as much as we should have. But to come out and kick that goal was definitely a pressure reliever. Tess, I'll ask you a quick question here. How good is Alice O'Loughlin? Because she just can't seem to miss goals at all.
She is. She does what only Alice can do, and I mean that. And she's such an individual. She is such an interesting person, and she just does her own thing. She goes about it in her own way, and it's just, I'm so happy to see it's paid off for her. It's been a long time in the making, and it's obviously with the All Australian, and then to kick the three on the big day is, I think it's just a credit to her work, and she can't miss at the moment, so hopefully she carries that into next year.
No, it feels like everything she does just like turns to gold. I don't know, like especially the back half of the year. You know, every time she gets that ball, and the one thing I've been saying about the W program is as soon as you guys get the ball into the forward 50, it's so hard to get it out of there without it going through the posts and going back for a centre bounce. And, you know, like Bellaretti and with Vicky down there and, you know, Alice, it's just relentless. I don't know how defences could ever defend against that because, you know, Kate Sherlock took some fantastic marks, you know, all through the final series. So she's great in the air. When it hits the ground, it just doesn't go out of there unless they kick a goal. So it must be a pretty relaxing thing, especially like with Sarah. We'll go to you here. You know, like you said, you get the best view in the house, just like sitting back and watching them go to work. I guess, you know, it's a pretty good job being a defender in a premiership team, getting to watch, you know, Riddells and you know, all of our midfield talent run around and then the forward line do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think this year it's been hard at training. We often try and pick someone to play on in the forward line, but it's been hard. There's just so many that have been so good this year. You mentioned Alice. We generally play on each other at training, and as Tess mentioned, she just does her own thing. Often in the wrong spot, but then in the right spot. So, which is just Alice, and it's a credit to her though. She actually had a really big off season. You meant Kate Sheila as well. Like I think she's had one of her best seasons. So it's definitely from how far they have come as a forward line. It's just great to see.
And in training, if you had to rank who you'd least like to defend against out of Vicky Wall, Bellaretti and Alice O'Loughlin, who would it be?
I think I'd go Vicky Wall, Bella, and then Alice, only because I play on Alice at training and we do sometimes muck around and I sort of can read her best, even though sometimes she does manage to kick a sneaky goal. But, yeah, I'd go that way. But definitely not – I don't want to play on Vicky at all, just tough. Yeah.
I'm scared of Vicky and I'm sitting in the stands. But every time she's around someone, I'm so excited. Like, you know, she lays these tackles that genuinely get people out of seats, and it's so much fun, to be there. One more question just for Tess before Rashaan, I'll let you take the floor here. Tess, you just end up on every single point of the ground. Like sometimes you're at half back, you know, with that kick we talked about. Then you're kicking a goal in the same quarter up forward. You know, what is your sort of role that you played in that game? Was it more just to get up and down the pitch as much as possible? Did you have certain defensive assignments or anything you specifically had to do? Or is it just a little bit of freedom to just use your talent to roam the ground?
Well, you know, when you're a winger, you run a lot and you don't usually kick a first goal and then get a touchdown at halfback. While I did kick a goal and, you know, those touches and everything, like me and my other wingers, obviously Gaddy and Smitty, like that's kind of just your role. You got to be up and back, and you know it might fall in your lap like it did for me, or it might not. But you just have to turn up there, and we're kind of a part of the team defense and team attack, as in like our defensive shape, like we're the last point of it, and then vice versa. So my role's basically just get up and back, help in defense, slide in defense when I can, and then. Yeah, if it presents, maybe get a chance on the scoreboard. But yeah, just keep width on the ground. And yeah, I guess that's basically it. Just get up and back as much as you can. So yeah.
I've got absolutely no tank at all. So it's like, you know, I've got so much. I can run for about 10, 15 minutes and I'm cooked. So much respect, Tess, because you run it all day and I'm like, there's no way I could ever do that.
Yeah, there are moments where I'm like, hang on, were you just like not on the other side of the ground? Like it happens a lot. Josh and I have said this many times.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, in terms of this year as well, being in such a strong, consistent squad, there was very little change week to week in terms of, you know, the playing list and who was on the team. Besides maybe Khan's coming back in late, obviously, from that long-term injury. I guess, how do you find, and you're a very close team as well, which is something I know, Tess, you've commented on multiple times, and I think everyone kind of has when speaking to media and everything. How do you sort of go about in terms of supporting those who maybe are really close on the cusp of sort of making the squad, especially, not making a grand final squad? It can be tough for those who just missed out. Obviously, there was very little change, but how do you go about supporting in such a close team those who are maybe not lucky enough to sort of make that squad?
I mean, it's a pretty crap position to be in, and I think a part of it is just letting whoever's in that moment feel a bit crap, because you can't change their mind. And obviously, my first season I played one game and I spent the rest as emergency, so I obviously not to the same degree because we weren't as successful, but I do have some sort of ability to comprehend how they're feeling. And it's a really hard one, but I think the girls are really, really good in the way they went about it. All year they were really training hard and pushing us, making sure we were held accountable. It's it is a shitty situation, and there's nothing that they can, when the team's announced and they're not playing at a grand final, of course they're going to be upset. Mm-hmm. But when it came to the day, they were just up and about, and they brought us so much support, so much care, and it was really, really, really appreciated by all of them.
Yeah, that's the one thing I probably noticed more than anything else. In the just in the stands and the polos, getting around you guys, especially after the game, and in the stands too. It was really, really good to see, and really, it sort of showed how close the team was as well, especially showing how supportive you guys are, and of course just being grateful to be part of, and happy to be part of that moment. So, what about you, Sarah? I guess how do you sort of see that?
Yeah, I agree with Tess. It is obviously hard any game to be on the cusp or to not be playing. There was a lot of them though that there's so much work that they do off field just to try and learn and to do those extras with the coaches and the vision, which is a credit to them. And I guess it was you just got to keep ready. And I think if someone would have went down in any of the finals, that any one of them would have been ready to step up. So that's another thing that they've done really well this year. But just the support at training and especially on grand final day was amazing. So it is just a credit to them, and they're all great people. And it's unfortunate that some of them won't be with us next year, but just really, really good people.
Yeah, that actually brings me into what I was going to bring up next. So with regards to, obviously it's very early days, but of course there are going to be a few new faces in the squad. And I guess how does that sort of, how does that affect you going into obviously next year and, bringing those new faces into the club? How does it sort of affect the team both culturally and from an on-field perspective? Maybe Sarah, actually I'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, I think for me, every year is going to be different no matter what. You're never going to play with the same people and you're never going to have the same staff. And that's something that we have adjusted to really well over the years. I think from where we started to now, our culture has just the growth in it has been enormous. We've got really strong leaders as well. So we saw the standards are set from day one of when you've come into the club, and you're in saying that you are welcomed into the club. It's not like a group, a cult or anything like that. But it's just strong standards, and we've always had very strong leaders who drive that. So it's just easy, I think. From my point of view. I know there's been a lot of changes over the years, but I don't think there's going to be that many other than what we have to make this year, which is actually really exciting because the core group will stay together, and I'm a big fan of that. I don't know about you, Tess, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously I'm much the same. I mean, change is obviously scary, and I was especially close friends with a few of the girls who won't be there next year, and it is obviously saddening, and it is going to be different. But in saying that, last year we didn't have Libby Birch, and she was such a key figure in our premiership hunt this year. And so I think, and also that's just part of our group. It's a whole squad mentality, so it's you're a piece of the puzzle. You're not really it's not about one person or a group of people. It's about all of us and how we can work towards our collective goals. So I think it'll be great to add some really impressive players into that puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh, I don't know if you got anything to add on to that one, but I'm always really curious to see, because professional sport, there's such a high attrition rate and so many people go in and out for different teams, in and out of the sport entirely. But yeah, Josh, what do you sort of have to add to it?
Well, I mean, there was a trade made today. I don't know if you guys, how quickly you guys find out about that sort of stuff. I don't know if you're told before, and then we as fans find out. And forgive me, I don't know much about the player because I really only watch North and then who we play against. But is it Eilish Sharon who got traded to North for, I think, pick 18 today? A dual All-Australian, after doing a little bit of research about her. I think she's a defender, Sarah. Do you know much about her?
Yeah, she started as a defender, but then last year played majority mid, which is exciting. I feel like every year we get another defender added into the group, and they just fit in. The way our backline is, they're pretty welcoming down there. So, it should be a great addition. And, as well as the midfield, if she gets some minutes in there, she can kick a good goal. So it would be good to see her go through there as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, we only conceded one goal in the grand final, so maybe adding her means no goals next year.
Yeah,
so that's exciting for all the fans. But what's it like, I guess, when someone gets traded into the club and you've played against them? Have you experienced that very much, or is it just an easy transition? What's it like knowing someone new who's a highly touted player is coming into the club?
Well, I don't know. For me, it's only really happened with Libby last year. Obviously, we've had some big battles with her over the years, and not particularly me, but I know Tars and Shields have, which I think would have been weird for them at first, but she just fit in straight away. She's got such a quirky personality, but yeah, she from day one, I think. Came to our Christmas party, and then from there it was like she'd been there her whole life. So, I guess once you put on those North colours, you're one of us. So we do our best to try and make you feel as comfortable as possible. And it really showed with her game this year. She was awesome. So especially in the grand final again, as Tess said. So, yeah. Yeah,
unreal.
Yeah, and I'm really curious. Sorry. If I was just kind of really wanting to ask, I guess obviously next season it's going to be a little bit of a longer season, 12 rounds instead of the 10, and the lack of condensed fixtures as well. And also, I believe there may be some. I think there was something about potential for double headers as well, which would be really interesting. I guess maybe Tess, we'll start with you. How do you sort of feel about the earlier start, the longer season, and sort of maybe having those 1-2 sort of fixtures with the men's?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting. I mean, it's kind of the end goal for all of us, I suppose, to play everyone once, and this is another step in that direction. And it'll be obviously a little bit challenging. I know it's only one more game, but injuries wise and things like that, it is a big toll on your body. And I think it'd be really cool to just have a longer season. And obviously, if the opportunity arises where we can play double headers, I'm fully even double headers just with 2 women's games at once, say 2 games at Marvel or something, or a men's game should it work and everything. I think it really represents a good opportunity to have more crossover between fans, and make sometimes women's football is at recreational grounds, so it can be a bit difficult to get to for certain people. And so if it's more accessible, say at Marvel or something, something similar, it might encourage more. Encourage more attendance and engagement. I think it'll be great. Can't wait.
Yeah, and what about you, Riley? What are you sort of sitting on that one?
Yeah, I agree. The game we played at the G before the Melbourne's men's final was probably one of the best and coolest games I've been a part of. I've always been a big fan of the doubleheader, and I just think more exposure is best for us at the moment. And I think once people actually start, it's generally the case with AFLW that people that actually haven't watched a game are negative about it, and then once they do watch a game, their opinion changes. So I'm just all about the more exposure we get, the better. If we do those double headers, I think that'd be pretty cool.
absolutely.
Really quickly, Rashaan, sorry. The double headers, I think, are a really good idea. I mean, I'm a big A-League fan as well, and you know, when I've got when the games are on the Sunday, I used to go with a bunch of mates, just us four guys, and you know, when the women were playing beforehand, we'd always just go down and watch, and you know, we ended up standing there and cheering, and you know, a lot of the guys who went down early got behind it, and then once we were like, oh, okay, yeah, it's fun, you know, that's when you're going to go, and I think, you know, the W's grown so much. It feels like to me, and maybe we're in the North Melbourne bubble because of how good the team is, but it feels like so many, especially North fans, have got on board with the girls. And I don't know, I feel like if we can put, with how good, you know, North are as a team, and Brisbane or Adelaide, if you can showcase that at the start of a couple of men's games with that many people going ahead maybe early, I reckon it could be super, super successful. Do you sort of agree with that? Like how do you feel like, how big do you think it can get? Do you think you could put the grand final at Marvel and you know, pack out, you know, half of it or more?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I think. That's exactly the intention, is to just open people's minds to women's football, because, like Righty said, some people can be critical, and there's going to be people who are critical because it's just female sport, and they just aren't a fan of that, and that's just something you can't fight. But there are obviously a large majority that just haven't been introduced yet, and like we sometimes get asked, we'll be in the middle of our season and someone will ask, oh, when do you start? Or like, are you in pre-season or something when we're in the middle of playing? So I think maybe if we have that sort of crossover, just the awareness of our season will go higher. And it might, you know, a bit more buy-in from supporters, like-minded supporters. Like, obviously, we're really lucky with North. Like, we have a lot of crossover due to our success. But, I mean, I know other clubs aren't as lucky. So, yeah, I think it's just I think it's beneficial from all fronts, really. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's have a chat about the celebrations after the grand final. You know, there's an iconic photo of Tess wearing the cup on her head, and that's my favourite photo from the day. Absolutely. You know, I guess medal presentations first. What's that moment like? I mean, when you're all standing there celebrating together, it was awesome to see as a spectator, everyone just huddled up and singing the song, and everyone was going mad. When you're waiting there to get called up on stage, how excited are you to get the medal and sort of have that little moment, I guess? I mean, yeah, Tess, we'll start with you with that one. Like, were you nervous to get up on stage? And I know it's a big thing for me when I watch the men's grand final, just to see who does the handshake well and who doesn't. So were you excited to get up there, and did you feel the pressure with the handshake?
Yeah, in my head I was just thinking, like, make sure I don't do a Bo McCreary, like, make sure I don't dodge the kid because I'm busy celebrating, like, and then don't trip up the steps and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, obviously it is a little bit nerve-wracking, but yeah, it was just so cool. Like, I've watched so many moments like that. Like, obviously I'm a Hawks supporter, so Shane Crawford in like 2008, like,
of course,
that was in my head. And yeah, I think what was more exciting, like, after you had your medal, you could cheer every one of your teammates after you or before you, and yeah, just getting around each other, and really, I guess it's one of those other moments you really soak up. And then obviously as it goes on, you just like, far out, I just want to, like, you just want to run around and celebrate. But yeah, obviously it's a bit nerve-wracking, but Righty was really nervous. Righty was rehearsing how to do the handshake.
Well, do you have a little speech in the sock or something, Righty?
No, it was more to put the hat on the little boy or girl's head. I just wanted to get that right, because if you don't get that right, you get absolutely roasted on social media. So once I got that right, I was all good.
Yeah. I'd be terrified. I mean, I know I get in my head at the best of times, and I feel like this is like the one, you've got 30 seconds of your own moment to be on the stage and be called out. And yeah, there's so much pressure there. And then, you know, obviously lifting up the cup, being part of that moment. I mean, I think we can all, we don't really dive into that too much. We know it's a fantastic feeling of the team celebrating together. But when you guys get to walk around the boundary line and be with all the fans, what's that like as a moment? And I guess trying to be present in the moment, there's cameras going off, all the fans are trying to take photos. Like, Righty, what was it like walking around the boundary, just talking to fans and seeing how they're reacting?
Yeah, it was actually pretty special. I'm not a big media or like any of that kind of stuff, or someone who is confident with that many fans and sticks around after games outside. But to hear so many of them, and they know your name and they know about you and how many games you've played, and it's actually really special, and it's something that it's probably my favourite memory from the day. Yeah, just getting to walk around and everyone that thanks you and that you get to actually thank back for their support. It's just really special, and it's something that I guess not many are going to ever experience, but yeah, I'll always hold that close to my heart.
And Tess, are you going to hang that photo of you with the trophy on your head up in your house somewhere? Or was that your screensaver?
No, God, no. But the only reason I did that is because I thought of Sam de Koning, one of the Geelong de Koning. He did that, and that was in my head, so I went for it. But
it sounds like it was planned to me. She premeditated it.
Yeah, planned it.
Yeah. Oh, come on! As if
I would have done the same thing. I would have done it for weeks before. I'm like, find iconic moments so I can recreate so I look stupid when I do anything. What about when you got down to the change rooms? What are the celebrations like? We saw that everyone's popping the lagers and that sort of stuff. Any insight into what it was like, and maybe, Ryder, you can give us a little bit of a layout on, what the next few days were like up until the trip. We just got a couple of questions to ask about the trip. Obviously, we want to know all the goss that went on there. But yeah, what sort of went on from in the change rooms and then the following days after?
Well, I actually missed everything in the change rooms because I was drug tested. Vicky Wall and I were drug tested, so we missed everything. Which
she
is
shouldn't have played that well. That's the
Righty.
problem.
No, it's such a pain, and I think we were there for about 2 hours, so we missed. Like we have a song that we sing, and Croc would have said a few words, but I missed that, so I can't talk about that. But Tess might be able to. But definitely the few days after, like the fan day. After that, we all went to the pub together and sort of got a meal and could kind of that was the moment to relax and to sort of start taking it in, which was really nice. And then from there was multiple girls that I don't think slept right until this weekend. I don't know. What do you think, Tess?
In regards to in the change rooms, we have our song, we have Hey Baby that we sing, and I just want to say there were talks about changing our winning song. That's been our song for years. There's been talks about changing that song, and I said we can't change it until we win. Flag.
That's right.
So, and that was the best Hey Baby ever. That was great, but I found myself not wanting to leave the ground because it was just like you just want to stay out there forever. But yeah, the celebration's ridiculous. The pub was fun. We actually came back after the pub to Arden Street, sat around listening to music with the cup on the Oval, which was really special. And that cup went everywhere with us for a couple of days. Like it was just wandering around with this massive cup, in St Kilda when we got our tattoos and everything. But yeah, obviously, it's just been a pretty hectic day. But you just keep coming out and spending time with each other, and you probably talk about the same 5 different things that happened at the grand final, or what did you do with the fans, or whatever. But it was just it was really, really, really special. And I agree with Righty about the pub, spending that time with the group after that, after the fan day and everything was really special.
I'm surprised they drug test people in that moment. I thought surely you just got to let people celebrate. I mean, Righty, to be honest with you, one of the guys, Liam, who was sitting with me, called you best on ground, I think, in the third quarter. So maybe the feds were looking at you as well, being like, nah, she's on one of her best games right now. I think there must be something there.
Oh, I've got no idea how they pick it or what they do, but it was such a pain. And I thought, as I went in, I was probably one of the earliest to go in, and I thought, if I get this over and done with quickly, I'll get back out. But by the time we got through it all, everyone was gone. They'd left for the after party. So, I would not recommend, but I guess they've got to do their job.
Oh, you might have dropped out quickly there. Rashawn, I was going to ask you a question really quickly. You went to the fan day.
Yes.
What was your experience with that? And you and Tess got to hang out a little bit there. What was your experience on the fan day?
No, it was really, really fun. Just having just a few of the North fans there celebrating. It was good. Got to say hello to a lot of the. Players, obviously. Yeah, Tess obviously said hello to you after you were going out doing a lot of the autographs. And who else did I say hello to? Got my Jenna Bruton badge signed as well, which I was very, very happy about. They're still sold out of yours, Tess. I need to get my hands on one. But I
bought the last one, Rashawn. That's why.
Yeah, I know. Just too popular. But yeah,
$50 you can have it, all right?
Yeah, no, I think it was a lot of a surreal experience. A lot of us couldn't really believe that we'd actually sort of won a flag. No North fans, who were born in the late 90s, early noughties, can really, that when none of us knew what it was like. So it was really, really unique, and it was a really sort of just wholesome, fun, and just great experience, honestly. And just sort of seeing the cup in person was really cool, and great day, honestly.
All right, what a time! No, I wish I got down. I didn't know that it was that early as well. So I was trying to get down there and I couldn't. But it looks like there was so many people there, and like I saw all the girls standing up on the top and like lifting the cup up, and all the fans were cheering. Then you guys got to go down and celebrate. And it looks like, I mean, you couldn't celebrate much more. We've seen all the Instagram stories and all the content that North's put out, and it looks like such a fun time. So, look, the last bit we'll chat about before we let you girls go, because it's getting late. The trip, the footy trip, it looked like such an awesome time. We need to know some details of this. Righty, have you got any goss, any dirt you can share from the experiences you guys had? It looks like you partied pretty hard up there.
I actually don't. I wish I did. There's just so many wild girls in our team. Jazz Ferguson can definitely party.
Yeah. Oh, any goss. So we went to Newcastle. The one thing I would say, like, I don't want to hate in an area, but Newcastle doesn't have many Ubers. So I swear, when we got into the airport, we waited like a good half an hour for an Uber, and it cost us like over $100 just to get to our hotel, and that was not a good start because we were hungover from the BNF. I mean, not that we drunk, but but aside from that, any goss? Look, to be honest, it was tamer than what I was expecting, because I think the week leading up was pretty hectic. So yeah, it was lots of fun, but no, I can't think of anything actually.
Righty, we've got you back now. Let's see if the signal's okay. Tell us some stories. Surely you've got something for us.
No, I would love to give you something, but no, it was pretty tame, as Tess said. I mean, there's a few girls that love to party. Jazz Ferguson and Ash Rajal are the two main culprits there, and there's a few that love karaoke, which Libby Birch on the microphone is something that you'd probably not like to see, but she loves it.
What song? What song does she do?
We played Iris a few times. I think that was played.
Oh God, we played Iris.
Yeah,
played Iris a lot.
Yeah, a lot. But yeah, no, it was all pretty tame, which is actually nice. I think everyone had a pretty big week. I know I was out on Saturday night with Jazz Ferguson, and it got to one point that I was actually nearly asleep and had to tell her to come home because it just got too much. So yeah, it was actually pretty tame, but a lot of fun.
Mad Monday as well. What was the best costume? We saw some of them. I can't remember who dressed as Shrek.
Oh, Jazz Garner. Yeah.
Oh, what a good costume. Any costumes that can rival that one, or was that the best?
I don't know, actually.
I don't know.
There were a few rogue ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a few of them. What did people dress as?
Oh.
What were you, Tess?
I was Black Widow from the Avengers.
I love it.
Yeah. Jazz Ferguson came as some sort of wrestler, which was...
Ferg came as Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Fantastic.
Yeah. And I don't think she took her mask off once, which is...
No, she kept it on the whole time.
Yeah.
I love that. Commitment to the bit. We love this.
Yeah.
What'd you guys write?
Just a Richmond player. It's an inside joke, and it's probably not what on the podcast.
Jeez, now I really want to know. All right, we'll get the dirt on that. I said there's no dirt, but then just not sharing this with Rashaan. Oh dear, no, that's good. What was it like to go away with the whole team and just be in Newcastle? Well, the weather looked pretty nice from some of the stories we got to see. Like who really dominated this trip? Because you've got like some of the younger players like Tess and Gaddy, or some more like Sherlaw and Righty. You guys have got more experience. Like who won the trip? Do you reckon? Who partied harder?
It has to be her, right?
Yeah, I'll give my award to Jazz Ferguson. She can drink.
She can just go and go and go. It's absurd.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, there's a little bit... This isn't from Footy Trip, but after Mad Monday, Ferg walked home at 7 a.m.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yep.
Oh, no. Get your steps up there. The Strava
Love
would
that.
be going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was walking past people who were on their morning run.
Yeah.
So, bit grim.
Yeah, that is grim. I used to live with a housemate who I worked at Bunnings years ago, and I would be leaving on like a Sunday morning to go to Bunnings, and he would always be walking off the train from a night out, and we'd always cross paths. And you know, there's many a time that I'd get a call from him saying he's fallen asleep on the train, he's at the end of the line. But yeah, look, what a fun bloke he was though, and those people always have the best stories. Oh, all right. I don't think we've got much more for you guys. We've taken up enough of your time. Rashaan, have you got anything else to add before we let him go?
Not particularly. I'm putting together a nice little win shit post given the grand final requires a little bit of effort. Need some video editing software for that, so it's got its own video coming for that one. But if there are any and all, even if I don't understand it, any and all inside jokes, be a nice little Easter egg to pop in, or anything that you feel deserves a bit of a shout out, more than welcome to put it through. But it's going to be, it'll be good.
Do you guys see the pump up video that Close to a Flag boys did?
So I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, that was the best and worst thing I put together. I was like, I messaged Tyler, admin one, and I was just like, "Hey man, this is shocking. This is shocking. What do you reckon?" And he's like, "Yep, perfect. Let's put it up." We just like putting that stuff up for a bit of a laugh, honestly. And you know, if people enjoy it, and you know, it really sort of drives a bit of optimism and makes people enjoy it, then so be it. Like, I love that sort of stuff. So
Well, maybe I'll ask
Yeah.
Tess this question because she's impartial. What had a bigger influence on the grand final win, Righty's socks or that pump up video from Close to a Flag?
I didn't know about Righty's socks until now, so I feel like I can only choose the one I was aware of.
I am humbled and honoured.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, maybe we'll wrap it up there, guys. But thank you so much for your time and coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and hopefully it gets more and more people into the W and we get bigger crowds. And, you know, we're going to go back to back next year. I'm pretty convinced of that. So, Righty, thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure we'll chat to you again soon, possibly next year.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate you having me on, and definitely. If you need another guest, I'll be back.
And Tess, you're a regular around these parts now. So, look, it's you or Marnie is going to be hosting the show next year. So you guys can figure that out amongst yourselves.
I'm on it. I'll see if I'll let Righty on then if I'm managerial duties.
Yeah.
That's
See if I feel like letting her back on.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Right, you got to ask Tess to come on the show. Right? And Rashaan, of course, always thank you to you, sir. People are going to hear from you a lot. Close to a Flag, if you guys want to get behind him, and might feature on the pod a bit next year as well. So you won't be able to get rid of him.
Absolutely. We'll be out and about next year with the men's season coming up. We'll be up in Gather Round too. So if you want to join us on a wine tour at the Barossa, we'll be well and truly going up there for that one. So welcome to join for anyone who's listening.
Unbelievable. Well, yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the listeners listening to Further North as well. And, maybe last podcast or second last of the year, then I'm shutting up shop. So thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you to everyone for coming on. And, thank you so much, guys. We'll chat to everyone soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.